And then I ate two entire boxes of popcorn or tubs of popcorn before the movie started.
Was that you asserting your masculinity?
Yes. Welcome to another episode of Is This for Kids? I am Jonathan Blevins.
I am Katie Ruvalcaba.
And do we have an episode for you right out of the gate? We are going to talk about two of the most popular movies ever. One, at least for a weekend.
Yes, at least for the
weekend. And one
weekend.
of all time, Barbie.
Yeah. And Lion King.
Lion King. Which is a legendary movie from our childhood because we are old.
Well, I wouldn't say that I am old. I would say that I am aging well, like a fine wine. Whereas you're more the sippy cup under the couch type of vibe.
So still worth trying after a couple years?
Just don't even open it. Throw it away.
Incredible. You have 5 kids between the ages of 15 and 2.
Yes, I do. And you have 3 between the ages of what, 8 and 3?
8 and 3.
8 and 3.
Look at us.
There you go. Look at us.
And we're here to help you navigate the world of digital media with your kids.
Exactly. Because there's so much out there. It's hard to know what is and is not for kids.
Yeah. How are you doing? And how, we both saw Barbie. We get to talk about Barbie today.
Yes. I went to see Barbie this weekend with my oldest daughter.
Who is 15?
She's 15 years old.
Oh,
Yeah. So I took her to go see the Barbie movie, and we were trying to pick out cute outfits because if you drove near a movie theater at all this weekend, you saw every little girl in the pinkest, cutest dresses in the entire world. And my daughter and I are like, I don't own any pink. It was quite embarrassing.
Neither of you
actually.
own pink.
I had a pink shirt, but it was not like Barbie pink, and I wore jeans with it. And I think she had one pair of pink running shorts that she wore with a t-shirt for a YouTuber she likes.
Wow.
Yeah. So we are not Barbie fashion girls, apparently.
Okay. Did you get like the $60 Barbie car popcorn thing that I saw on Twitter?
No, that wasn't even an option at the movie theater I went to.
We didn't even have a Barbie sign or movie poster at all.
Agreed. I tried to take a picture in front of it, like so that we could, social media up this podcast. Could not find a stinking standee, nothing.
Yikes.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. I went with my friend Alex Kluver, who's like a 28-year-old single adult male.
Yeah, that's
ladies.
A look.
And I thought, do I want to go alone to see Barbie at 9:45 a.m., which I did not know was the time you could go see movies?
Yeah, I went at 10:10.
Or do I go with a friend? So I went with my friend, and when he wore a pink shirt and I wore a pink hat without planning it, it was hilarious.
So precious.
And we showed up and we wanted to take like an ironic but funny but unironic picture in front of a Barbie thing, didn't find it. So we took a picture in front of the Oppenheimer thing.
Yes.
Probably not for kids. We'll get back to you on that. And then we posted it saying like, we're definitely here to see Oppenheimer, which no one believed, of course. Also, I thought it was super fun. Walked in and like looked at the lady who takes her tickets. I forget what those people are called.
Box office person?
A box office person.
Yeah.
And she looked at both of us and saw that we were wearing pink. And I handed her my phone, which like clearly was for Barbie. And I was like, 2 for Oppenheimer, please. And she like laughed and scanned it. And then I ate 2 entire boxes of popcorn or tubs of popcorn before the movie started.
Was that you asserting your masculinity?
Yes.
Yes.
I do want to say this though, because this is kind of funny. So this is just basic etiquette for anyone out there. This is also an etiquette podcast.
Is it?
Yeah. So I
maybe.
get my popcorn and my large drink. Okay, which I owe my like way of doing this. What? Why are you laughing? Oh, you spilled all over yourself. That's hilarious. Say hi to YouTube. Say hi to TikTok. This is going on Instagram. Like and subscribe.
Sorry, I'm a child. I need a paper towel,
Just
please.
use your hand. You have
It's
5.
in my bra.
You have 5 children.
I didn't.
It's in your what? This is not for kids.
This is not for kids.
You can't spill coffee all over your face and just let it happen. That would not
really
be funny.
cannot.
That would just be awkward. At least we made a fun meme out of it now that we can post.
Please, somebody do something funny with that we can post. Okay,
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is an etiquette podcast as well as a Is This for Kids podcast.
Yeah.
So I bought my large popcorn and my large drink, and I have a routine. I don't go to the movies often, so when I get to go, I want to. Now I get to go all the time because of this podcast. But,
yes, because it's work.
That's a whole nother thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I finish my first tub of popcorn before the previews finish. Then you can refill it, and then you just kind of coast on the second one. That's my plan throughout the rest of the film. Right?
Okay.
Well, I started walking up the escalator at the AMC and I noticed that my friend only got a drink. And I was like, where's your snack or popcorn? He goes, I figured we would just share. And I said, excuse me, you figured wrong. Okay. I don't share any food ever except for maybe with my wife and sometimes with my kids.
Right.
And it's a weird thing. I don't care about germs. Like I don't care about people like getting sick. That's not a worry I have. If you sneeze on me, I'll be like, that's kind of gross, but who cares?
Right.
But I just don't want people touching my food. And I don't know why. I have no explanation. This is the second time this has happened. Like another time, my buddy was like, I'll get the movie tickets, you get the popcorn. I was like, no, because the popcorn's going to be $40. He's like, no, it's only 20. And I was like, no, yours is 20 and mine is 20.
Oh my gosh.
So I ended up like pouring popcorn into his napkin because I was not
like
going
he's
to.
your toddler?
Yeah, yes.
Oh my
And then I got a little baby water cup and I just filled it up and I handed it to him. And he's like, is it really that big of a deal? And I was like, don't be so cheap. Buy popcorn.
Do you remember when they used to have those little like paper containers with the straws and you could do that? They stopped having those now. And so it's very difficult to divvy out popcorn.
I agree.
I'm not a fan.
But anyway, that was my Barbie experience.
Okay.
I didn't eat what I'm saying is I didn't eat the entire thing of both popcorn things before the movie started because I had help.
Easily, like what, 2,000 calories per large box?
Yeah. And it was 9:45 in the morning. And normally I intermittent fast. And so.
Sure you do.
We didn't.
No, that sounds like a thing you would do.
I do.
I believe you.
Wow.
When I think of things that Jonathan Blevins would get into, intermittent fasting is way up there on that list.
I've lost like 15 pounds in the last few weeks. Episode 60. It's going to be a lot more than that.
I've been going to the gym like every day for 3 weeks in a row now. I have gained 3 pounds.
I just want you to know, you do not have to look like Barbie.
Thanks.
What are your thoughts on the new Barbie film, Katie?
Oh, goodness.
I have so many. We purposely not talked to each other about this so that we could get a live reaction.
Yeah, so we could get a live reaction. And he thinks that we're going to have vastly different opinions.
I really
on this.
do.
Okay, but just those of you who don't know me, I'm generally like a pretty well-rounded person. I generally can look at things from multiple angles. So I'm coming from that. But when I was watching...
Spoiler alert ahead, but no major spoilers. No major spoilers, right?
What would you even spoil?
Good. Okay, continue.
Okay.
Great
so
point.
just so we're all on the same page,
Great.
I went into this movie thinking we were going to watch like a fun, lighthearted, probably some feminist situations like girl empowerment kind of things. And I was totally prepared for that. And I thought it would be a fun version of that. And it was for about 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, we were in kind of a gender studies doctoral dissertation where there wasn't really a lot of attempts at making me laugh. And so I was looking at this trying to figure out if we were going to be finding too many, sex jokes, too many things like that would be inappropriate for children. But the longer I was watching it, the more I thought they'll just find this boring. What did you think?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I admittedly did not know who the film was for when I went to go watch it. Like in my head, I was like, this is for people my age, like 25 to 40 who maybe played with Barbies when they were kids. And like really are fans of Ryan Gosling because of The Notebook,
right.
And fans of Margot Robbie because of Suicide Squad.
Okay.
She plays the I haven't seen it, but she plays like the Joker girl.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a huge Batman fan, but not a huge fan of Suicide Squad. I haven't seen it yet. So
okay.
My opinion though,
yeah.
Suicide Squad, probably not for kids. I mean,
probably
the title,
not for kids. Not for kids.
So I didn't know what to expect, but I kind of thought that's what it was for. And then I noticed a lot of moms were taking their daughters.
Yeah.
And I was like, interesting. Like my wife, we only have a 3-year-old daughter, so she wasn't going to take her. But I don't think that she would if she was 10 either, because my wife, I don't think ever, like she just doesn't follow that kind of stuff. So I don't think she'd ever want to go see Barbie. So I was like, who's this for? What's happening? Mm-hmm. I thought that the movie was kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like I really did. There was a weird scene in the beginning where these little girls have like baby dolls, and before Barbie shows up on the scene, they start destroying the baby dolls. And
that's a reference to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
It is.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not what some people are saying.
No, it's the monkeys at the beginning of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and he throws the bone up in the air. It's the evolution of man is the beginning of 2001.
Yeah,
so
you should put that reply on like a whole bunch of people's tweets who think that's a sign for people hating babies.
No, so that was a really weird thing about this whole thing. It was, like I said, it was like a gender studies dissertation. It wasn't particularly entertaining, but it felt like it was mildly disjointed as well. It kind of felt like it was made by somebody who was trying to represent what a feminist mindset should be. Like, for example, when you're trying to make a movie talking about patriarchy, it's odd to use the word patriarchy 50 times in a row. Like, you're just beating them over the head with it at that point. And when I'm thinking, watching this with my 15-year-old daughter, she's just like, Mom, this is a lot of like philosophy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I thought that the whole thing, I'd probably give the whole thing like a 5 out of 10. I thought there were some funny parts. I agree with you with your take on like you need a dissertation to understand what's happening. And it felt like they were trying to explain too much. But I did think that there were some really funny parts. Also, real quick, I do think that the sex jokes they made on purpose were like too far, like not funny. Like for me, too far to like, if you're only going to make 2 really, really weirdly inappropriate jokes the whole time, just don't make them about masturbation, because like that all of a sudden that takes my like what age would I let my kids see this to like 15, 16.
So we
Not
actually,
12.
the only thing that you spoke with me about this in advance was the concern about the masturbation joke, which are you okay with us spoiling the joke for the people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
If you don't want to know what the joke is, maybe fast forward a few seconds here. But basically Ken is saying that his job is beach, and there's all these other guys on the beach, and he's like, I will beat you off, and I will beat you off, and I will beat both of you off with one hand.
We'll all
each,
beat
or
each other off.
Yeah. So you said that was like a deal breaker for you. That was an issue. And so I pulled in my 9-year-old son, 10-year-old daughter, and 15-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And I reenacted the scene for them. I'm like, you got guys on the beach. This is what's happening. What does that mean? And my 9-year-old son says that they have to get off the beach. And my 10-year-old daughter says, yeah, same. And my 15-year-old daughter was like, yeah, same.
See, here's the thing. My 8-year-old.
Now my 13-year-old son knew immediately what it was. Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my 8-year-old would hear it. Well, I wouldn't let him watch it, but he would hear it, and he would be like, he would just say it. So I don't care if he knows what it means, but now he's saying it possibly in a grocery store.
Yeah, but here's the thing. My 9 and 10-year-old kids who didn't see the movie already knew that scene. They had seen it on YouTube.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that scene has already made the rounds. They're already familiar with it, and they still don't know what it means.
It doesn't affect your rating system.
No, not at all. It doesn't even register, because it was so over their head that they don't think to repeat it, because they don't realize that it's a dirty joke. If you're not in the theater hearing everybody laugh at that moment, they don't even realize it's a thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But okay, so all that said,
yeah,
the part that you're saying you don't like, where like the main character from the real world goes on a rant about like how hard it is to be a woman. I thought that was funny.
No, that was fine. That's not the part that bothered me.
No, what's the part that bothered you?
I felt like it was, again, like it feels like a poor representation of what a feminist idea would be. So the thing that didn't make any sense is Barbie and Ken go into the real world. Ken learns about patriarchy and brings it back to Barbie land, right? While incessantly saying the word patriarchy. Right. And then when he brings patriarchy into Barbie land, it is nothing like the real world, and it doesn't resemble what's out there. He's made some sort of weird, strange version of patriarchy. Right. But then what's even weirder is that like we're supposed to believe that he took the real world's idea of patriarchy and put it into Barbie land, and at the end, Barbie chose the real world?
Right, that's a good point. Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah.
Like, it was very strange.
So then, because then the whole conversation changes. Like, is this movie about the different gender roles, or is the movie about what is a human and what does being a human mean?
It seems like we changed the plot halfway through, like being human, and that was, I actually liked that at the end where she was like, I want to be a part of the things that matter, and then you've got that whole montage. Yeah. Which was great, because it showed a lot of the things that I think people are, when they're complaining about the baby dolls, are missing. That montage included mothers and daughters and having babies and like all of those things. And they pointed out that Midge got treated poorly by Mattel. And so I felt like they landed that point really well, and then immediately got weird. Like they just changed ideas.
Yeah. Barbie was one of the first movies I remember seeing that basically said being a mom is okay. Like not having that just being a mom is okay. You don't have to have a career. Like it mentioned that multiple times.
It flat out stated that. Yeah.
Which is awesome. Now, the part that a lot of guys are offended about is like the stereotypical when Barbie's like, well, now we have to like distract the Kens so that they can so that we can like unbrainwash the other Barbies. And the way that they go about distracting the Kens is like super stereotypical, right? Like just pretend like you don't know how to swing a bat, and just pretend like you don't know how to open your app on your computer, and it works. And I'm like, that is funny. I wasn't offended at all. I thought it was hilarious, and it's super true.
Yeah.
Like anytime my wife is like, can you set up the printer? I'm like, oh, you need help setting up the printer? I am your guy.
Yeah.
So I wasn't offended by that at all. I was like, yeah, it's true. So
Yeah.
all the stuff they said that was bad about men was just funny.
Yeah, the only thing that I found mildly offensive was that they kept claiming that men really love horses. And when I think of people who love horses, it's little girls. Barbie had a horse. All right, come on.
Yeah, that was funny. The four.
That was appropriation. They took my culture. Men don't get horses. That's a little girl thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Let me just also add one last thing.
Yeah.
I thought that overall, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. I know we're not like a movie review podcast, but I'm giving it a 5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
It was entertaining. I probably won't ever watch it again.
Yeah.
But I thought the acting was good. I thought that the set design was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that the costumes were pretty dope. Although that was all kind of done for them because Barbie's been a thing forever.
Right.
But I thought that part was all good. My question for you, is Barbie for kids?
I would say that Barbie is good for kids ages 10 and up as long as you're going to go with them and you're ready to have those conversations about, if you are looking to talk to your daughter about feminist concepts for the very first time, and that's a topic you want to introduce, this might be a great jumping off point at around the age of 10 to have those conversations. But if you're looking to be entertained, but yeah, 10 and up, I think you're good.
Okay. I am going to be the prude in this podcasting relationship,
as per usual,
which is fine. But again, my oldest is 8, so like it is a very different perspective. Because a boy. Yeah, and a boy. So he's definitely not going to want to see Barbie anyway right now. So I'm going to go with 14. I'm going to say 13, 14 and up is fine, which is what it's rated, by the way. PG-13.
Yes, you're supposed to have parental guidance for children under 13. Yes.
I thought that's what that means.
Oh my gosh. How did you get on this podcast?
I thought that it meant
Who
that
are
you
you
have to have
sleeping
I thought it meant if you're 13, you need parental guidance.
No, parental guidance for children under the age of 13.
I'm just joking, you guys. This is going to become a meme where I just act dumb for clicks.
Meme.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My actual reason, I just feel like it's weird, even though they might not get it. I think it's weird to expose kids to sex, to a bunch of sex jokes too young.
So let me just throw this out here. I feel like you maybe don't have a firm grasp of when kids start to have those conversations, because statistically by the age of 11, a young boy has been exposed to pornography.
Right.
And when my daughter was in first grade, she came home from school with a detailed explanation of how babies were made in same-sex couples, which was very interesting for me. So I feel like maybe you're not in a headspace that's really aligned with where the kids today are.
I was in 8th grade. No, so okay, that's a great point. When I learned what sex was, that's a good point. However,
what? You were in 8th grade when you learned what sex was?
I was very sheltered, but in a good way, I think. Here's the thing. I know what you're saying. I just don't think that we should use that as an excuse. Like, I will be very hyper aware of what we're homeschooling our kids. So like, I'm going to know when they know some things. And I'm not going to be, again, I'm really not going to be like a crazy wild helicopter parent. But like, we have a really good community here with a lot of people who are kind of on the same page of like when our kids are going to get cell phones for now. Mm-hmm. They're not asking for one yet. So I know it's going to be tough. So for me, it's like, if they don't know what it is, don't introduce it to them yet, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? If your kids already know that kind of stuff and they have access to YouTube and stuff, like sure, I would lower the age. But since my oldest is 8, for me now I'm like 13 and up.
Yeah, but I would just caution you if you're thinking about masturbation jokes as being off the table when this is a movie that's really kind of for girls, if we're being honest. And girls hit puberty earlier than boys do. And so if you're in a situation where you have a daughter and you're not willing to talk about sex, but she starts her period, you're going to have some, that's going to be a problem.
No, for sure. Yeah. That's where Jody and I are going to work really hard together. Yeah. My youngest is our first daughter, and I didn't know how to help her wipe. So there's like a front to back to front kind of thing. And
never back to front.
Never back to front. Yeah. Because you could get a really bad
This is not that kind of podcast.
Nope. Okay.
That's webmd.com. Oh dear. Okay, so from one coming-of-age movie with Barbie, we're going to go into another here with The Lion King.
Ooh.
Now, this is one of those things that
Say it
we
again.
The Lion King. A lot of us remember this growing up. We're millennial parents at this point. This was a movie that came out in what, 93? 92? 93. It was 1993. 100% 93. So when this movie came out, I was 8 years old.
Wow. How old are you now?
52.
You were not 52.
I want somebody to comment. She looks great for her age.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 38.
Okay. So, and it came out when you were how old? So I was 11.
Nope. You're younger than me.
Math is not my strong suit. Okay. So I was 5.
What year were you born?
87.
Okay. So 7 plus 3. Or so,
10.
yeah. Okay. No, that wasn't what I meant to do.
Well, I answered 7 plus 3 correctly.
You were 6.
I was 6.
Yeah. So I always, you know how people get mad about the new math?
Yeah.
I do math that way in my head all the time. So I always go 7 minus 10 is 3 plus the 3 on the other end, 6. That's how I do math.
Oh, wow.
And that's how the new math goes.
I just use my calculator on my phone.
You don't do math. I've seen you.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so you were 6.
Yeah, I probably saw it when I was 8 then for the first time.
Okay.
I don't think I saw it in theaters or something at 6 because I had my other brother's 4 and then 2, so there's no way.
Yeah, I definitely saw it in theaters.
Here's the thing. I want to start off by saying Lion King is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Okay.
So everything I'm going to say after this that might make it seem like it's not one of my all-time favorite movies is just for the podcast. Is this for kids?
I'm nervous for you.
Why are you nervous for me?
I can feel the audience being like, what is he about to say?
No, but well, first of all, Mufasa is probably the greatest Disney character of all time that's only in a movie for 30 minutes. Okay. We can start by that, right? I mean, what a character.
That is a lot of qualifiers,
Simba.
but yes.
He's by far the best lion who's killed by his brother.
100%.
Okay, so at least we can agree there.
Yeah.
And I rewatched it recently for the podcast.
Yeah.
And I think I still love it. I still love the movie. But it is a wildly traumatic Lion King. And I don't remember it being traumatic when I was a kid, although I do remember the Mufasa scene. That was traumatic. But there's more than that. And you're probably going to do your same argument you did with Barbie of like, it was over your head, so it's not a big deal. And that's fine. But I think
I'm so excited that like you could do the whole podcast by yourself. Just do my voice in like a higher register. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Barbie is perfectly fine. So okay. So it's traumatic. Mufasa is killed by his brother. Mm-hmm. I remember like I have 2 brothers. So I remember thinking like, that's weird. How could you ever do that to your brother? So I definitely processed that when I was a kid. And then Simba cuddles him and like asks him to wake up. And that's like everyone remembers that scene as like, oh my gosh, that was horrible. But we were so conditioned to being okay with that. Like every Disney movie just has a parent die. And it, like Littlefoot, his mom in Land Before Time, that was heartbreaking stuff. I was a mess.
Yeah.
I think that is when I stopped actually processing my emotions.
Wow.
It's that movie. Okay. The movie messed me up. It was traumatic. And then in the end, there's a lot more trauma that I think that happens throughout Lion King, but I don't want this to be a trauma podcast about Lion King. But then in the end, Scar is not, he doesn't like Simba doesn't kill Scar. Mm-hmm. Scar is eaten alive by his friends. Mm-hmm. That is messed up if you think about it. Like, and I heard it wasn't even supposed to be the ending. Like the ending was supposed to be even darker than that, and they had to switch it to being eaten by his friends.
Wait, what was the alternative?
It was bad. Like he was going to be like lit on fire, and like it was. You have to look it up. It's like
he was lit on fire.
No, like I mean to death.
Well, it was kind of like he drops down into a pit of flames and you just see like the shadow of the flames where they're eating him.
Yeah, they just eat him. That's messed up.
But you can actually see it.
No, but it's weird. You know it's happening.
Yeah.
And so many Disney movies, this is why we're going to be doing one new, one old, I think, is that so many Disney movies are like this. You rewatch it as an adult with your kids maybe, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was in here. And so I think Lion King is incredible, but also super traumatic. Thoughts?
So here's the thing. If simply being killed by your brother is too much for children, you're not going to make it out of Genesis in the Bible.
No kids care about that Genesis anyway. If
you're going to make the argument that it can't be over the kid's head, like it is what it is. Kids are going to be exposed to these kinds of things. And it's generally my theory in life that if your kid's first exposure to a traumatic event is a fictional traumatic event, it conditions them and helps them to be able to process actual traumatic events in their real life. So for example, if the first time your kid ever deals with death is when their grandfather dies, that's really hard. They love that person. They know that person. But if their first interaction with death is being able to see somebody who had a person die that they loved and they continued to grow and they became a better person and that it eventually became okay, it helps them to learn that one day it will be okay again. Fictional trauma helps kids to be able to process real trauma, in my mind.
Isn't that what dogs are for?
Sorry?
Like, that's why you get a pet. So that the kids can learn how to process
dogs
real sadness.
Dogs live for like 13 years.
Yeah, that's why you get them before you have kids. We don't have dogs yet. Here's the thing. Okay, I hear what you're saying, but there's studies out there right now. That's my favorite thing to say. There's studies that say that 1 glass of bourbon a day is healthy for you.
There are studies out there right now that says all previous studies regarding happiness had been incorrectly looked at. No one should ever listen to a happiness study.
Are you being serious?
I am dead serious. It just came out this last week.
There are actual studies that are saying that the more and more that they study it, that kids have a hard time actually processing what is real and what is not real in fictional movies and shows.
Okay.
And so like maybe we're exposing kids way too early to really traumatic events when they aren't ready for it, because to them it's a real thing. And maybe it's better for them to actually experience the death of their grandfather as their first form of trauma. I mean, and again, this is just an age conversation, I think, right? That you and I are going to have, because I don't disagree with you, but I just think like that 5-year-old Lion King is like, they're not going to understand, oh yeah, he got way better. They're just going to remember Mufasa died and it was super sad.
So when you were watching The Lion King as a child, all you remember is being sad? Because I remember freaking Hakuna Matata,
I
man.
remember Hakuna Matata so well too.
Like,
but no, I was super sad.
My walk away as an 8-year-old kid who definitely saw that in the theater was, these were great songs. This was a lot of fun. The bad guy dies in the end. Hooray. Like, I was not traumatized. So I'm not sure if we're thinking that kids these days can't handle the same things that we handled. I don't know.
Were you traumatized when you found out Santa wasn't real?
No.
By the way, this podcast is not for kids.
It's not for kids. No, I was not, but my mom was, because I looked her right in the eye and I was like, Mom, you would never lie to me, would you? And my mom was like, what's the question? I said, are you Santa Claus? You know why? Because she wrapped all the presents in the same paper from Santa and I found the paper.
Do you have a guess at what age I was when I learned that Santa was
30?
I was in 8th grade. I was in 8th grade when I learned
Wasn't
this.
in the same conversation you learned about sex?
Yes. Yes. And so
I don't want to live in the Blevins household.
I remember getting made fun of
talk?
on the bus because I believed in Santa. And my friends were like, really? And I was like, yeah. And then I went home and my mom's answer was like, Santa is faith and magic. And I was like, tell me the truth. Is he real or not? And she was like, faith and magic. And so I kind of inferred that he wasn't real, but still kind of also believe he is. I'm endearing. People will like this about me.
Sure. It's adorable.
Thank you. Would you say that? So would you say that Lion King is for kids?
I would say that The Lion King is completely appropriate for kids. Whatever age your kid can sit through a movie.
You're putting Lion King next to Bluey and saying they're the same?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think what I'm about to say is crazy? I think that Lion King is like 7 to 8 years old and up, and like have a conversation with your kid about like hard things happening before the movie.
I think that if you're doing that, your kid is more likely to be traumatized because they're looking for something to traumatize them. Maybe cross that bridge when you get to it. If the kid is traumatized, talk to them about death. But otherwise, just let them enjoy Hakuna Matata. They eat bugs, for goodness sake. It's delightful.
First of all, also very unrealistic. Imagine Simba getting so strong off of only eating bugs that he can then go and destroy Scar,
That's why he had
who
the
has eaten
scraggly
every
hair.
animal in the entire kingdom. They're all gone. And Simba just wins that fight. No chance.
That was the hyenas that ate everything, first of all. He let the hyenas overrun everything.
Also, Scar could have just killed Simba in the very beginning when he had him. Like, he didn't have to have the hyenas do it.
Scar could have killed
Yeah.
Simba?
Simba goes up to Mufasa when he's dead. He's like, wake up, daddy. And then Scar talks to him and has his hand on him for a second. He just snap his neck right there, and now it's his kingdom. Instead, he sends his hyenas after him.
Yeah.
You ever think that?
Yeah.
I think this feels like a good time to say that my middle child has what we don't, it's not like officially diagnosed or anything, but we think that he has like what's called like a high sensitivity child, which is like a thing that 20% of Americans apparently have, or children in general. I probably had it too, looking back.
Clearly.
But like, so when he watches a movie and something sad happens, he weeps out loud immediately. And so we have to like pause it and be like, it's going to get better. Like all that. So that's where some of my takes come from.
Yeah. I have a high sensitivity husband who can't watch episodes of like This Is Us without bawling constantly.
Oh Luis and I are the same.
Whole way through it. So
Okay. So you get it.
I mean, he gets it.
Yeah. So this is why we're a good team, because I say 7 and 8 and up for Lion King.
Yeah.
And you say
I
all
would say
ages.
any age. You're fine.
What a blessing.
What a blessing. Childhood trauma in the form of death.
Well, what other podcasts out there is giving you Lion King and Barbie?
Oh gosh, not at the same time.
We're the first ones for sure.
Certainly not. Yeah.
So if you've enjoyed this and you want to continue supporting us, you can like and subscribe.
That's right. And you can find us on whatever podcast app you're a fan of using, and make sure you leave us a review. The reviews really help. Did you know that?
5 stars, the better. Even if your 5-star review is just making fun of me.
In fact, if your 5-star review is making fun of John, I'm going to be a bigger fan.
Yeah, 100%. Also, make sure you comment any suggestions that you have of movies, music, apps, TV shows, etc.
TikTok
that you'd like
dances.
to hear us talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until next time.
Hey, is this for kids?
This is not for kids. This podcast is not for kids.
It's not for kids.